Hello everyone, I hope all of you are doing well. My name is Rathi and I have been creating content since last 7 to 8 months, and I have been focusing on my IIM journey as well as how I can add value to yours while you are preparing for the interviews. My previous videos and playlist have comprised of different IIMs and SPJIMR and certain other institutions like BITSOM and MIMS, how their interview process look like. I highly recommend you to watch those videos after this video and look at my playlist where you can actually find about consulting landscape as well. These different experiences and these videos will give you a holistic understanding of how an MBA process, interview process and pre-MBA part of life looks like. And then I'll be making certain videos on MBA, IIM life, as well as on the case competitions journey, which will be relevant to you regardless of the institution you join. So make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for all the content that is going to come your way. Now, focusing on the part where my TISS HRM interview took place. So, even though people have this differentiator that HR people, they are not heavily involved in the tech side of things, and for many reasons people don't really like the HR side of things. They just think that HR ka kaam hi kya hai, bas rangoli banana, right? No, definitely not. In fact, I have uh, covered this in my boutique consulting firm video in the last year as well, that there are a lot of consulting which actually happens, and HR consulting is one of them, change management consulting is one of them. And when you talk about a holistic HR perspective, it's not at all easy to keep a track of all the different nuances that goes into HR. And TISS is one of the colleges which should be on your number one list if you want to do HR, not just for the ROI but for the learning perspective and the legacy it brings as well. I highly recommend you that before the interview experience in this video, first go through the curriculum on the TISS website which is being offered, understand about that, and then come back to this interview experience where I'll be sharing the bullet points of what was asked to me. So my TISS interview experience started with TMAY, that is tell me about yourself. I briefly told about my part and work experience part as well, and I had a lot of follow-up questions based on that. One of the key parts as a project management person I did in Deloitte was onboarding and offboarding over the platinum projects, which is very high key projects which are happening in Deloitte. I used to be a part of those onboarding processes, and trust me, those processes were very cumbersome, and I had to make sure that there was attention to detail at every steps. At points there were 20 to 30 steps involved, and hence there were some follow-up questions based on that. Now, what this tells you is whatever aspect of your work is related to HR, they will definitely gonna ask questions on that, and this was one aspect where we saw that. In fact, so much so that I was a little bit grilled upon my work expert as well. But then, very surprisingly, in this particular interview, I didn't expect much to be asked from the acad side of things. So I didn't take it well. I prepared lightly for the academics from my UG perspective. But unfortunately, I was grilled upon a lot of subjects. I did electronics and communication engineering. So a lot of questions were based upon my ECE related things, which were ranging from statistics to IoT to the functioning of microcontrollers, so how the different digital frequency bands takes place, how the subjects like digital communications and analog communication take place, and nuances into that. Now I actually messed up all my answers here, and why I'm sharing that with you is, even though it's a test call, do not take it lightly by thinking that the academics might not be a strong part of it. Academics will be asked to you, and in fact you should be well prepared enough so that you are able to do better in these interviews, because the ROI of this is like crazy, and if you miss out on that just because of the ACADS part, it's really bad. So make sure you're preparing for ACADS very well. This grilling actually went on for like 8 to 10 minutes, and then ma'am shifted the interview in a very different direction. In VIT I did some management courses, even introduction to psychology. Certain questions came around from that which I was able to answer, and this again tells that even though I was grilled on academics, they were mindful of the psychological and the aspects from my work experience which are related to HR, and they really wanted me to give 10 on 10 answer for that. After that, they asked me about the important problems that an HR faces in a day-to-day life. Suppose if a person is being fired, what are the key challenges the HR might be facing is something which was after asking me about how an HR deals with layoffs and what are the key problems an HR faces during the layoff period. I was then asked about related to certain work experience points, how I would again relate those problems on the HR side of things. And then in the last one of the questions which was asked to me was, what is pink washing. I would like you guys to Google about that and similar terms if that are asked in your interview processes as well. So this was holistically a candid sharing of what are the kind of questions that was asked to me. What is the key learning here is, even though it was an HRM interview, all the questions were not just based on the HR side of things or your clarity of getting into TISS and HR perspective. In fact, I was grilled a lot on the academics part from my UG. Even though I had a work experience, they didn't like let it as an excuse that I was not good at the or not well prepared for the UG side of things or the degree or the UG degree which I've done. They actually grilled me on it. So if you're a person who is not well versed with these topics, I highly recommend you to take 2 or 3 important subjects out of it or your favorite subjects out of it, like memorize them. And if your interview is going downhill, let's say someday, you can actually tell about these subjects that you were not able to, or you're not able to answer these because these are not the topics from your favorite subjects, but then these are certain XYZ are your favorite subjects, and then you can justify it accordingly and make the best use out of it. Finally, one of the last key things which I would like to request you is, it's not easy to make content on a 5 hour average sleep cycle, but I put my heart into it because this is more than a hobby to me. And dealing with the MBA rigor, I would only like to request you that help me reach the 1000 subscriber count. Help me share this video across the platforms to your friends, to the communities which you have been preparing your CAT interviews and the timeline this, and help me reach the 1000 subscriber count, and let me know in the comment section if I was able to add value to your life or not. And you can check out my previous videos and my playlist for more content on interviews and also on the consulting side of things, the candid life of I am Tiruchirappalli, and more such videos that are coming your way. Until then, take care, convert the best possible interviews that you have. Bye bye, I'll see you in the next video.